I'm back on YouTube and here to bring you the finest quality videos on the occult. I'm Maevius Lynn. I'm an artist and practicing occultist. I do primarily ceremonial magic, and I am very passionate in particular about Thelema. I absolutely love sharing my experiences and interest in Thelema. What better way to kick off this channel than talking about promulgation of the Law of Thelema? So to jump right into it today, on this video I will be talking about what is promulgation of the Law of Thelema and what it is not. I will also be talking about why promulgate the Law of Thelema, why we do it, who is it for, and in this section of who is it for, I'll be discussing, if you watch till the very end, I'll be discussing in particular my views of accessibility and what I think is really important in this community. It is an act of declaration of a particular law. That is the definition of promulgation more broadly. So, interestingly enough, some consider promulgation a necessary step before a law can take effect. So when we're talking about promulgation of the Law of Thelema, we're specifically talking about the Law of Thelema. Now, let's contrast this with what it isn't. People often hear promulgating the Law of Thelema, and they say, oh, you mean like a street preacher trying to convert people to Christianity? Actually, no. Proselytizing is an act of conversion, versus promulgation is more an act of education. So that street preacher, although I will say you will find some Thelemites who do also proselytize, it's not as common, but we're talking about two different things here. So promulgation is the act of education, trying to bring awareness to something, versus trying to actively convert people like proselytizing. Now, I will leave you with a very good example of knowing the difference between the two. So, for example, if I had people over at my house and I was offering everyone tea, and I said, hey, let me let you know about what I have up my cabinet. I have some great Earl Grey, I have some green tea, I have some other types of tea, maybe I have some jasmine tea. That's what I have up in my cabinet. Y'all want anything? Versus if I had people over and I said, hey, I have this really amazing green tea, you absolutely have to try it, let me tell you all about it. What do you mean you don't want the green tea? Please. And I pour a cup of green tea and I actively try to offer it with someone and I try to convince them that the green tea is something they really, really want. Me being more forceful and actively trying to make someone do something would be perhaps proselytizing. It's a weak metaphor, but you get what I'm saying. Versus if I simply tell people something exists, maybe I share a little bit of my experience about my favorite tea, but it's a different sort of beast. Not a perfect metaphor, but I hope you follow me on that one. So why would someone want to promulgate the Law of Thelema? Or more specifically, why am I here? Why am I here on YouTube making these videos again? Why am I on Instagram and Twitter and a bunch of other places? Well, quite frankly, I owe Thelema a great deal for my personal happiness and success in life. I'm just little old me, I'm just some random person, and somehow, through this system of mysticism found in Thelema, I managed to find great truth and beauty in the world. Profound realizations, profound things that have made my life worth living in a way I couldn't imagine before I dove in deep into Thelema. Not only do I want to spread this joy with others, I hope others can find this truth and beauty and happiness as well. And perhaps if I talk about it and I talk about, my lived experiences, not only do I get the benefit of sharing this joy and being authentically myself, which is so invaluable, I also have the opportunity to perhaps bring that joy and that beauty into someone else's life. And that's what it's all about. If someone happens to just get that spark in them to be inspired enough to look into this system of mysticism, philosophy, or religion, because it's all three. And I think that would be absolutely beautiful. Also, what I get from talking about Thelema is another chance to see things in a new way. So even talking through stuff on this video and other content I make, it gives me a different angle to view things, and that's so valuable in seeing things in a different way. So, who is the Law of Thelema meant for? Well, if you believe the book of the law, then every man and every woman is a star. Therefore, the Law of Thelema applies to all people regardless of gender, disability, race, etc. Now, this is perhaps a controversial claim, but I stand by it, in that the Law of Thelema applies to all people. Now, this is a huge difference between saying a law that I truly believe applies to all human beings in the current aeon. That law doesn't absolve people of consequences from their actions, of course, although I think that the truths found in this book have the opportunity and the chance to make people's lives better and make better decisions and more sound decisions in line with their true will. That won't always happen, right? I believe people should face the consequences of their actions. If someone breaks a law, for example, regardless of whether or not it's their will, they have to face the consequences of those actions. They have to be punished for breaking the law. Absolutely, I believe in that. But what I also believe is just because someone is disabled or someone has a different set of gifts or disabilities, that doesn't mean they should be excluded from what I believe is a truth of the new aeon. That's absurd. So on the topic of promulgating the Law of Thelema across all people, it is a worthy pursuit to translate this book into Braille for those who are visually impaired. It's a worthy pursuit to talk about it in different formats for different types of people of different levels of education and accessibility to learn about Thelema. This includes art, writing, videos, and people often discount the medium of art and video, saying, well, if someone can't read, they don't deserve to know what Thelema is. Absolutely not. They're still a person. Not everyone, first of all, has the economic feasibility to get, for example, a high school education, let alone a college education, which sometimes is required. A higher level of reading, I would argue, is required in being able to consume some of the Thelemic literature out there, some of the Class A documents in particular. And when we talk about literacy, literacy isn't just simply you can read or you cannot read. It's a range, it's a spectrum. So someone may be able to read basic phrases and have that access to education, but they may not have access to a broader definition or a more thorough understanding of text, and they may not be able to approach them. So it is worthy. People deserve to have accessibility where we can provide it and where we have the resources to do so. So it's an honor and a privilege, and a joy, of course, to make videos talking about different topics related to Thelema, especially for people who may not have the ability or the resources to read long, maybe they just don't have the time to read long, lengthy journal articles or books or things like that. So hopefully this content can reach people in a way other content is not. So that about wraps up my thoughts and opinions on the promulgation of the Law of Thelema. I hope this video has primed you with some interesting prompts or ideas or thoughts to have on the matter. Please feel free to share them in the comments below. And thank you again for watching my video. I am the center of expression for the primal will to good, and so are you.